Okay, on September 23rd, 2019, around 4:30 p.m., Lisa Snyder called 911 from her home. Dispatcher tells the fire captain, quote, "She mentioned that her 8-year-old son had been bullied and has made threats of doing this, but didn't want to go alone." End quote. The 8-year-old was Connor Snyder, a third grader of Greenwich Elementary School. Connor loved his 4-year-old sister Brinley, who was in her second year of pre-K. So now their mother, Lisa, was calling 911, and she's building a narrative before she even speaks to police officers. A narrative that would be really hard for anyone to believe. That her 8-year-old son had himself and his sister in the basement of their home. Later, when Lisa would speak to police, she would tell them what happened that afternoon. So she says that Connor came home from school and he said he wanted to play on his iPad, but then decided to change his mind and play with his laptop, but he couldn't find the charger cord. So he had asked his little sister Brinley if she wanted to go downstairs in the basement with him and build a fort. Lisa stated to police that, quote, building a fort was his thing, that they played downstairs all the time. Connor asked his mother if he could bring down 2 wooden bar-height chairs with him for this fort, I guess, and Lisa said he could as long as he was able to get them downstairs and back upstairs on his own. And she actually goes into great detail about bringing the stools down the stairs. She said he took the stools down one at a time and one step at a time because she kept hearing the thump, and she said it was hard going, but she knew that he could do it. And then he grabbed a single wild cable dog lead with the vinyl coating of swivel eye snap hooks on both ends. He grabbed this off the kitchen table. So now let's talk about this for a second. The family did have a dog, 5-month-old Boomer, who weighed 50 pounds, and this dog lead was meant for a much bigger dog. It had a weight limit of 250 pounds. So Lisa Snyder had ordered this dog lead from the Hamburg Walmart the night before, and she picked it up that same morning at 9:30 a.m., and she wants us to believe that her 8-year-old son specifically took this thing off the kitchen table so that he could bring his 4-year-old sister downstairs and take both of their lives while Connor was going up and down the stairs from the basement. Lisa was folding laundry, and then she went outside with Boomer, the dog, and she told police that she was only outside of the house for roughly 10 minutes before she went back inside. And then she went downstairs to the basement to ask her children if they wanted chip boyardee or frozen pizza for dinner. That's when she found them. According to the affidavit of probable cause, Connor and Brinley were found 3 feet apart. They were hanging from the wire dog lead. This wire dog lead had been wrapped around the main support beam. One was around Connor's neck, the other was around Brinley's neck. The 2 bar-height wooden stools were nearby, tipped over. Connor and Brinley were still alive at that point when she went down there. Like, what would you do if you saw your children like this? You would do anything to get them down, right? Like, any normal person would do that. Well, Lisa told police that she tried to get Brinley down. Brinley weighed 40 pounds, but Lisa said she couldn't get the clasp on the wire lead undone because when she has the spikes in stress and anxiety, she sweats profusely. So her hands sweat. And her hands were just so sweaty, she couldn't undo it. Like, she couldn't wipe her hands and put gloves on. Like, was that too much? So Lisa left Brinley hanging, and then she tried to get Connor down, but Connor weighed 150 pounds. And so she was unable to because she says he was too heavy. So she left the basement and she called 911. And according to her own statement, she never returned to the basement where her children were suffering. She didn't pick up the chairs and place them underneath Connor and Brinley. She didn't run screaming to the neighbor's house to ask for help, and she didn't even grab a knife to attempt to cut the wire lead. She didn't do anything. At 4:41 p.m., the Kempton Fire Department EMTs arrived at the residence. Now, Eric Bubblemeyer was one of them. He and the other EMTs were told that Lisa Snyder would be outside waiting for them, but when they arrived, no one was outside waiting, so they knocked on the door. Lisa answered. She was talking on her cell phone, and Eric would later testify that she seemed nervous and anxious, but she wasn't crying. But when he looked to his left, he saw Brinley and Connor hanging from the rafters, and their bodies were still warm. So immediately they started working on freeing them from their nooses. All of this happened while Lisa Snyder was still upstairs on the phone. Eric was able to release the class that held Brinley, but his partner was having a hard time with Connor, who was admittedly heavy for his age. So Eric helped, and soon both children were down, and they were able to perform CPR on them. The children were unconscious but still alive, and they were immediately airlifted to Lehigh Valley Hospital, where they were put on life support. She indicated that Connor had been bullied on multiple occasions since the first grade, that he had told her he wanted to unalive himself. He lost 25 pounds since school started because he was starving himself. End quote. That leads me to wonder if Connor was starved, but not by himself, if Lisa knew what she was going to do, where this was all going, and there is evidence to show that this was a premeditated. She did start withholding food from her son to support her alibi. She knew she would later have to give law enforcement. Connor wanted to unalive himself because of the bullies, but he's a kid, right? So he doesn't want to go face the unknown alone, all by himself. So he's going to bring his little buddy, his little sister, along with him, so they could go together. Lisa laid it all out for police, but from the very beginning, police felt the story was off. The day that Connor passed, the footage showed him on the bus laughing. He wasn't showing any signs of getting bullied, and then he gets out of the bus smiling, showing no signs of distress, and he ran home, probably looking forward to seeing his mom and his little sister. All of the teachers at Connor's school were like, bullying? What bullying? They'd never seen it happen. Additionally, Lisa, Connor, and Brinley were not the only people living in that house. Lisa had a 17-year-old son named Owen who resides there. Although he wasn't home at the time of the incident, he was interviewed by police, and he also claimed that Connor wasn't being bullied, and he knew this because he'd asked Connor directly. Apparently, Lisa made mention to Owen that Connor was having some problems with the other kids at school. So like any big brother would do, Owen approached Connor and talked to him about it, and Connor expressed confusion, and he said he was not being bullied. Owen also said that his little brother and sister, they never played in the basement because they were scared. They were scared to play in the basement. He could only remember one single time where they had played in the basement. Owen did not dispute the fact that Connor and Brinley liked to build forts, but he said they always built forts in the living room using cushions and chairs. They never built forts in the basement. Lisa's friend also said that Connor was in good spirits, never mentioned anything about it. And she sent, the whole time she was in the hospital, she sent messages about things like trying to sell the pool and that her kids did not make it even though her kids were still alive. And all this stuff. Lisa was finally arrested on December 2nd, and she was charged with 2 counts of first degree, and 2 counts of third degree, and 2 counts of endangering the welfare of children, and 1 count of tampering of evidence. So that's a sad story. Poor kids. I'm